Hello. As I promised, this vid's called Hierarchy of War, and it comes from an idea that I had when I was looking at a comment and somebody asked, "Why does war occur?" Okay, it's a simple question. All right. Um, I'll use the Binladens as a start. Just let us remind ourselves what total evil bastards they are. Okay. uh, and other feudalistic families like them. Well, let's get on to the subject at hand. Right. Well, we might say wars happen because one society invades another because it covets their land or it seeks to enslave them, or for some other reason. Um, Even cannibalism was probably one motivating factor. But we're really talking about Stone Age days there, because in ever since the Greeks and the Romans, at least in the Western world, it probably goes back more sophisticated, even further back in history, because of China is where advanced civilization started, and of course the Middle East as well. But we would take the Roman and Greek example, since it's in the mindset of Europeans to think that way. In terms of the demos, okay, there was the most people. It didn't mean it was a democracy, and you had the polyoiki, the so-called oiks. That is a common term of derision to call someone an oik. I suppose people like the Bin Ladens today would call us nobodies, because they are totally evil bastards. We have to remind ourselves of that, because of course now it's been, although we're constantly reminded of it in the news, it's like hammering down. And of course we might never have known, had it not been for 9/11 itself, about Bin Laden, because of course they put it down to, in the media before the Bin Ladens were outed out of the international system, okay, that these bombings and things were just simple, mild events. And now, be absolutely categorical. I've done research on this and I've looked at both sides. Bin Laden did do 9/11. He's even admitted it, and it's not the he admitted it on Al Jazeera. It's not even the one with the fake Bin Laden, fat Bin Laden, fake gold ring vid. Okay, before anyone calls in, right? But let's take the similar system. At times there have been periods of freedom, periods where you've had constitutional republics. There's been advances made. Obviously, we've got the constitutions of the United States, we've got the European Union. These are all sort of examples as well. Flourishing of ideas and philosophy and everything else, and that make culture work as a problem-solving process. Okay, but if we take the Bin Ladens and say Julius Caesar, who obviously subverted the Roman Republic, although he could be argued that it wasn't being overtly evil, circumstance forced him. The Bin Ladens are a totally evil bunch of absolute bastards, as I said before. They own oil companies, they own construction companies, they are trying to hold the economic system of the world ransom through their corruption. They get Bin Laden himself gets $43 billion a year, which is about £43 billion a year, and that was when the pound in 2006 was considerably more than a dollar, and the British Army's funding is just about catched up with that now. So he was getting more money in for Al Qaeda is his private army, but Al Qaeda is really a bunch of people who are operatives in the sort of intelligence agency sense of the word. and the Taliban are basically mercenary like people. Some of them are motivated by religion. That's really a recruiting ground. What? So let's get to the crux of why these things happen and why there are levels and hierarchy in war. Okay, so the demos today would be the democratic system under which most of us live or believe we live, and the middle ground would be the the politicians, the presidents, the prime ministers, who to a certain extent do run things. They do. The civil service in the West at least works, and that is what we think when we elect a prime minister or a president, that they are going to be like some sort of manager. But their ideas is basically to run, to initiate laws and policies. Okay, that's their job, and the legislature is supposed to constrain their power. But then above those people, or usually those people's opinions are usually shaped by the university system that they went to, and more importantly, business funding, corporations above them. And as everybody says, oh well, it's the banks and the corporations. They're the ones that are evil. But the Bin Ladens kill people's families. Okay, they use terrorism. They blow buildings up. They have murdered thousands and thousands of people. We probably won't know how many people they've actually killed. Alright? 9/11 and the embassy bombings and all that was really their showing off their power, that they were sort of untouchable. Okay, obviously that's not been completely proven to their foot soldiers who are dying in scores. But the Bin Laden family itself is still very secure. I mean, they're even building Sudan's road network, for crying out loud. All right, there's even links, talk of in the intelligence communities, on the news, of course, that there might be some link between the Bin Ladens and attacks on shipping. And Al Qaeda as itself, without outsourcing it to Somali pirates or Somali Islamists, has actually conducted overt attacks on with its own armed vessels on oil tankers, and of course on the USS Cole, which of course it blew a massive hole in. Okay, so in the past, these kind of feudalistic families, it can't be said that they started World War II or anything like that, but these beefs between families, of course, then descend down, which are completely irrational and egotistical, based on feudalism, go down the scale, and then politicians, their mindset is not egotistical so much as thinking about that they want to be re-elected, or about economic matters. That's their sphere. And of course, so thus you get 9/11 happens, and Bush has to react. Okay, so what does he do? He attacks Iraq. Why? Because that's in his mindset to do these things. Right? He's got a beef. His family have got a beef with Saddam, so he takes that opportunity to swat two enemies at once. Okay, and thus here we are now, still within, even with the Iraqi elections just happening, we're still in two major wars. Okay, and then it descends down to the next level, the people, the soldiers, and we're all supposed to believe it's for society's good, and of course we do believe that because the Enlightenment values are still in the populace, and thank whatever divinity, or thank philosophy, or the Logos, or whatever, or just pure rationale that they are, because basically the demos and the use of, even if it's just the use of comedy or the internet, right? That's basically our only chance left, because only when we're going to get people into the political sphere with some sort of humane view, all right, not totally self-motivated, are things going to change for a positive reason. But a good start would be to fucking get rid of those evil bastards, the Bin Laden family and other families like them, like the Saudis, alright, and stop with their grip on our security and economic policy.